Quoting the main character of today's video, I'll give two quotes from the same interview. The first one, being a writer is the best way I know to be paid for being insane. And the second one, my brain and I were not friends, we're classmates, we are doing a project called Life, and the project is not doing great. If I made mistakes in quoting, I'm sorry, my brain is a mashed potato. Moin moin, dear people, old, new, my friends, the friends of my friends, my relatives, and anyone in the world who found this channel and who thought that the content here might be interesting for them. My name is Anna of Northern Germany, a survivor, a fighter, a writer, and on this channel I am doing content about writing, being an aspiring author these days mostly, I think. Also sometimes I talk about politics, I talk a lot about stuff that worries me, and usually it's based on books that I read that inspired me, and also I enjoy folklore, Slavic folklore, and there are also videos about that sometimes. So a bit of everything, but my passion is writing, and I was born in Russia and I'm a refugee in Germany, and I also had depression, and that's why I have a lot of things to talk about, and these days I really want to bring something into this world, maybe to improve someone's day, maybe, I don't know, for someone to feel a bit less alone. And this is the format that I am calling mental awareness through literature. And of course, talking about one book is not the most popular thing on YouTube. People don't watch it a lot, but I share my experience when I read or listened the book, because the book I'm talking about today, I listened to it. I don't have a copy, a physical copy, unfortunately. And I learned something that maybe I would have wanted to learn before I had a crisis and a strong desire to end my life. I'm well now, I'm fine. I have small pieces of relapses in my life sometimes, but usually I'm trying to stay well. I'm making a lot of efforts. I enjoy reading. I like talking about mental health. That's why I feel like it's important talking about such things in the context of the world being rushed, being pressuring for people to improve, to develop every day, etc, etc, etc. Hopefully enjoy this video. As always, subscribe to this channel if you want to write something nice, if you want to give me a thumbs up, if you want to, because YouTube likes this stuff. And yeah, let's pass over to the video. Mental awareness through literature usually has a specific structure, and I have a playlist on YouTube on my channel about mental awareness through literature, and there are several books that I have already talked about, and you can watch them too if you're interested. And the structure of the video, I first talk about the author because I find it important. We look at the background, what the author went through and what resulted in writing the book, and what probably experience the author had or something. Then I present the plot free of spoilers. And at this point, if you hadn't read this book, and if you are interested, and if you feel like you're going to read it now or maybe later, it's time to postpone this video, put it away, and maybe watch it later if you feel like it, because the next part is going to include spoilers. After that, after we discuss the plot, I will be talking about my opinion, my experience, and what I learned from the book, and what I think generally about the information presented in the book related to mental illnesses or being unwell mentally. Not to stigmatize this area because it's already stigmatized, and on the other side we have TikTok, and also this area is a bit romanticized, and I don't want it to be lopsided. I just want it to be even, you know. So today's book, as you could have seen from the preview, it's going to be Fredrik Backman, Anxious People. I'm not the biggest fan of Backman. I haven't read a lot of his books. I listened to both of books that I had experienced to deal with, and the first book was My Grandma Says That She my grandma is sending greetings and saying that she is sorry. I listened to it in German. My German wasn't good enough for that book, but it never stopped me. This is how I learned languages. And the book was sad, but also funny. And Fredrik Backman, I don't know if he's considering himself so, but he's kind of a comedian author. If we compare him and Matt Haig doesn't tend to joke as much as Fredrik Backman did. And also I quoted his video, his speech, maybe he got an award or something. I'm going to leave the link in the description. You can watch it. It's a very funny speech, And the book, Anxious People, is about depression, but it's also funny. And this I accept, it's very funny, especially in certain places. When we talk about the author who created the Anxious People, we don't know much. I did the research, and what I managed to find was that he didn't suffer from diagnosed depression or something like this, but he suffered from PTSD because he was robbed and he was shot, I think, into his leg or something like this. I don't know how true it is. It's not something that is mentioned on his official page. It's like some fan-based information that I fished out of Google. And it caused PTSD, of course, and he feared almost everything when it happened, and he had to go through therapy to overcome that, and it's quite clear. Otherwise, there is no information that he suffers from depression or generalized anxiety disorder or what else. It could be agoraphobia, etc., etc. But it doesn't matter, it's just for you to know. Also, what might have influenced the book, Anxious People, was that around 20 years old, he witnessed his friend committing suicide. I don't know, maybe YouTube doesn't like such words, but okay, whatever. So he witnessed that, and according to him, of course, it's not something from which a person recovers easily and it stays with you forever. It's absolutely clear. If we speak about Backman as an author, there are certain facts. For example, he's from Sweden, and he is not coming from a creative, prosperous family, so for him to write, he had to work a lot. He also has 2 kids and a wife, and he had to work quite hard, work night shifts for him to be able to write in the morning, because many people write in the morning. It's normal for them, or during the day. You can watch my previous video. It's about me trying out like the writing routine, how you can make it work together, working and writing. But it's going to be a long journey for me, of course. It's a long journey for every author. And another thing to know about Fredrik Backman is that he believes in the generalized goodness of people. That means that people commit crimes sometimes or always, I don't know, not because they are bad people, but because they were forced to do so by the society, because the society wronged them. So we know that, we take this into consideration when we talk about this book or read this book, and we'll pass over to the next part of this video. I wonder if I managed to film that before my therapy session, because yeah, I'm long in therapy, just for you to know why you needed this information. Spoiler-free plot. Let's see what is going on in the book. So the book is about how a person under insurmountable circumstances can make fatal mistakes. Okay, and the plot driving character, because I wouldn't say that she is the main character, because there are many characters, and yeah, I can maybe put forward some specific characters, but the plot driving character, why it all took place, because of this character. So this character is getting through a breakup, a very traumatizing breakup, including the possible losing of the custody over children, and also the person lost the job, lost a place where this person could live and raise their children. And it leads to the fact that this person attempts to rob a bank. And also, as a result of the attempt of robbing a bank, this person, the bank robber, ends up creating a hostage situation in a flat viewing. There was the flat viewing, and it creates a hostage situation, police involved, etc., etc. So this is pretty much it. We should understand that this book is not a thriller. It's not a thriller because, as I had already described you previously, Fredrik Backman, so far I don't see him as a thriller author, but also I hadn't read his other books, so I cannot judge. But this book is definitely not a thriller. It's the life philosophy comedy something. And maybe this is enough for you to know if you're planning to read this book. So if you feel like it's something interesting, you just turn this video off and maybe later you come back to it and we'll talk to you. Bye. And at this point of my video, I'm going to present the characters, present the core of the situation, the problem, the main conflict of the book or something. That's why it's going to be a bit different. And also for you to know that the book has this principle of people, different people completely being connected to each other through the past, through the present, and all actions have consequences in the book, and everything, every person mentioned plays a role in the book, and it makes the plot a bit complicated. Not every author is capable of writing a book in which there will be many characters and all the characters could be developed equally. It's very difficult. I think Backman rather manages. So there are characters. We have this bank robber who is a bit half anonymous, because this is the idea of the book. The robber is anonymous up until a certain point deep into the book. That's why I didn't didn't reveal the personality in the previous part of this video. And I wouldn't say that it's the main character. I would specify the three main characters with the mental issues, like with the serious mental issues such as depression. And all the other characters, they also have their own anxieties, they have their own troubles, they have their own doubts in life. For example, if I'm a good wife, if I am going to be a good parent, if the life that had already passed for an elderly person was worth it, was worth living. So such questions also fundamental. But if we talk about depression, I would specify the three characters. So the first character, this is a man. We don't know much about him because it doesn't matter for the plot. But this man had a similar situation as the bank robber. This person trusted his money into stocks and he lost his money. And with the money lost, he wasn't capable of sustaining his life, his children. He also had 2 children. So he brought the children to school and he went straight to the bridge. The story is also circulating around a certain bridge in a town in Sweden. It's not Stockholm. There are plenty of jokes about Stockholmers. So it's another town, smaller. So that's why people being connected to each other is more realistic, maybe, than a megapolis, probably. I don't know. And this man wants to end his life, but there is a boy, and he tries to talk him off. This boy is trying to convince the man that life is worth living, and the boy almost manages that, or he thinks so. And the man, unfortunately, jumps. The boy, who attempted to save this man's life, grew up to be a policeman because he was dreaming of making a change. His father, Jim, they are Jack and Jim, so I mixed them up a lot while I was reading. Jack and Jim are involved into investigating this hostage-bank robbery investigation. The same time, the man who committed suicide previously, before committing suicide, he had come to a bank and he attempted also, he tried to get a loan. And the bank official said, no, it's actually your fault that you lost money. You shouldn't have trusted your money into a stock, into any bank, and you are just a loser, basically. And after that, this man, before committing suicide, he writes a letter to this lady, the bank official lady. And the same bank official lady is involved into the hostage drama. She was one of the viewers. And she goes there not because she wants to buy a flat. She's extremely, incredibly rich and she doesn't care for middle-class apartments. She just attends only these flats with the view on the bridge because this man who killed himself gave her a letter that she was still scared of opening. At the same time, this lady attends a psychologist and she misbehaves at the psychologist. If you read this part, she's behaving herself horribly. And she attends a specific psychologist. It's a girl, it's a young woman. Her name is Nadia, but 10 years ago, she used to be a young girl. And after a man committed suicide, in a week, she came to the same bridge with the same purpose because she heard about the man and and the children of this man attended the same school, and she decided that life is not worth living, and she is the only person whose depression is not caused directly by the internal it's rather external, something that I used to have, something that must be treated medically necessarily. Sometimes it's something in your hormones, in your body, that your body lacks, or sometimes it's just your nervous system is too worn out, unfortunately, since childhood or young years because of certain circumstances. So also external, but also internal. And she also kind of accuses the society because she pretended, she played the role of a sane person. She had all this mess in her head, and people just thought that she was fine. And the same boy, who is also the policeman, the young policeman, this time he drags this girl and he saves her life. And after she is dragged back and she hits her head and she wakes in the hospital, she manages to convince people there that she didn't attempt a suicide, that she just wanted to take a picture of the sunset, and she fell back. And when she's released from the hospital, she decides to continue living. And this is the matter of the whole book. What is the difference between the first man and this girl? Why the man ended his life and the girl continued living, if we omit the fact that the girl was dragged back, right, by the man, by Jack, by the young policeman. Because, yeah, unfortunately, not every person who attempted suicide and saved continues living, because when it's something deeper, when it's a big problem, mental problem, it's very easy to return to the same bridge or try something else. Don't do it. So Backman, as I see it, I cannot be 100% sure, and also returning to the name of the video, he believes that this is the society that makes us ill, the society that causes depression. And this is the big question, or this is the opinion of the author that overshadows everything else. So in the world picture of Backman, people are generally good, they're born good, but then the society pushes people to commit crimes or to make grave fatal mistakes because they are cornered, and that's why depression happens, that's why suicidal attempts take place. And of course, this is an inspirational book, and Fredrik Backman is not the person who writes the book such as, yeah, capitalism is a murder and there is no way out and everything is bad. But no, the message of the book that humans make mistakes, but we are bigger than our mistakes of the past. And this is an amazing message. And I can see that I also read some stuff, and Fredrik Backman says that when he writes a book, when he's planning a book, first he imagines the emotion that he expects his reader to have in the end of the book. And I think it shows, and it's an amazing thing. If you're an author and if you're trying to write, it's also a thing to try if you feel like it. I would have even made a writing routine of him, but I'm not sure it exists, because it says that he is a blogger, but also an author, but not much I found. So he's not seeming to live such public life. And there are some points that I pointed out for myself, and I made my own opinion based on the book. And what I would love to say to people who are watching this video, people who are getting through mental stuff, mental illnesses, maybe they are internal and nothing bad is going on around them, but they feel very bad, very, very shitty. Or maybe it's external and there is something that seems like the end of the world. can be different reason. And I must say that fighting the system is very difficult. I am a person who fights a lot the system. I live in Germany and I fight a lot for the right to be. Maybe not now, but previously I used to be a first person with Duldung, with a tolerated status. There were times when I had no status at all. There were times when I lived in France and it was obvious that they would kick me out and I could not return home. When I was already in Germany with tolerated status, even everything and everyone were screaming that I am an issue, I'm an immigrant and I'm causing troubles all around and I'm not worth being helped. You know, the main thing in this case, to know for yourself that you're worthy and you deserve help, you deserve support. And even when I got my asylum, and still there are many things, this is not my mother homeland. I love this country very much, but there are very, very difficult issues and sometimes you hit the wall and the only thing you get bruises and there is no result, or there is a result, but much, much, much later. And yeah, it's hard. We have to acknowledge that. To fight the system is very hard. Also, living with the thought is unbelievably difficult. With the thought that when you're alone or with kids, it doesn't matter, or with parents, elderly parents, this thought is killing by itself. Like, where am I going to live tomorrow? What I'm going to live tomorrow? Etc., etc. It's an unbearable pressure on a human being. A human being is not made to tolerate such things. An interesting point that I learned recently. I am a person who supports the idea that it must be written in the Constitution that every person has a right for a place to live in. But as far as I know now, in Spain, there is a such thing in Constitution, and it resulted in this phenomenon of ocupes. If you're interested what it is, you can Google, and it is the result of such a thing, like this gray zone in Constitution. So it's like, yeah, the system is insane. Let's just accept that. At the same time, the world is not 100% positive and pink, but it's not 100% hostile either. And sometimes it's difficult to educate your children. I really don't know how to do it correctly for the child not to be afraid of everything, but at the same time for the child to be careful, because I'm rather a child who is afraid of everything around her. And this is how I grew up, in the hostile environment in Russia of the end of the 90s and the beginning of 2000s. And I cannot blame anything. I cannot blame my parents for that. At the same time, it's better when a child can trust, but also check, you know? Trust but check, in Russia we say. For example, in such areas as investing money, or buying something, or being influenced by influencers, or by other people, because some of them might have good-ish intentions, some of them might have not good intentions, and you must also understand that for people, for businesses, the top thing, the top goal is to earn money, and they want to earn money from you, and they don't care much of your health or how much money you have in your pocket right now, because they want to survive, they want to earn money. I think it's like this, it sounds very scary, and how to survive in such a place which is called the world, to rely on oneself, to learn how to rely on oneself, to respect oneself, to prioritize oneself. It's easier said than done. It's something that takes years and years to learn about oneself, to know what harms me, what does me good, and I'm still on a very long journey. That's why also some things happen, and sometimes you are ill, or sometimes something happens, or the war, or anything, and you rely on yourself first, but at the same time you need to have some kind of the system to catch you. That's why I disapprove of the American system, in which if you don't have money to treat your cancer, that's your problem. No, it must not be a problem. We must be surrounded by a friendly society, understanding society that has to be able to catch you if something fails, because the problems, such as the problems, I have nowhere to live, I have nothing to eat, I have no money in my pocket. A person must not be alone with such things, but it's in the perfect world. We're not living in the perfect world, of course. So if you live in the society that is friendlier, it's much better. If you live in a very unfriendly, very cruel society, for example, somewhere in Russia, you must know everything about your rights. You must know the places where you could possibly go. For example, in Russia, there is such an organization which is called OBD-Info, who I help as I can, as much as I can, because they help political prisoners, they help people in distress in the meaning in which you can get into trouble in Russia. And I know that if something happens to people who I love, I could rely on this organization, for example. And also, if we talk about mental struggles, I would want people to speak, not to keep it inside, because when you speak about it, it already makes you less alone. And also, if you speak, if you ask for help, if you accept for yourself, I deserve that help, I need that help, there is a big chance that you will succeed, that someone, one person, someone, but don't trust everyone, but someone will help you, because I have amazing friends, and without them, I would have been buried somewhere. The best case scenario, somewhere in Germany, because I really love Germany. This is my land. I really love Germany. I think it's nice that Fredrik Backman sees good in people, but good things happen to bad people, bad things happen to good people, and sometimes we must not search for excuses for people who commit crimes, because two persons with the similar background might exist in the world, and one had become a criminal and another one is a human rights defender, if it's what it's called. Okay, my top tips of staying alive in the world, if we believe that everything is coming external, or also if we talk about internal depression, those are, let's start with like the basics. Talk, seek help. Don't close this venom in yourself, because when it is enclosed, it's eating you, it's chewing on you, and it will end badly. I can tell you, you can believe me. And of course, I know that not everybody can afford getting a therapist, and sometimes a good psychiatrist is very difficult to find, but please try. I know it's frustrating when you cannot find at least a psychiatrist to get medical help first. Try it. Search for a community. Try it. No, don't give up. Don't give up, please. And depression is a liar, another thing. Accept that. Depression is a liar. It's lying to you all the time. Depression is lying to you that you're alone, that you're not needed, that you're not worthy, that you're sick, ill, you're cripple, mental cripple, and nobody would want to be around you. It's a lie. It's a lie. If you are a person with, I don't know, with a normal, kind soul, there will be people who'd want to be around you. And the main thing that you want to be around yourself, and you have to want to be around yourself. For that, you need to learn more about yourself, seek and get help, and this will help you to stay. Also, what I want you to remember, bad things happen, but life is not like this. Life is a fluctuation. I remember how some Arabic psychiatrist, still when I was an asylum seeker, told me, like, with a very broken accent of German. It was very funny. But yeah, so if it is like the peak, or sometimes you don't know when the peak of the terror is going to be here, but when there is a peak, it's going to go down. That's the law. And also the days, they're not equally black. There are also some moments when you're less sad or more sad, or something happens, or someone visits and maybe you smile a bit. Of course, let's not make it happen to the moments when it's already totally black, you cannot get up from the bed. Please seek help before that. Really before that. Because if you feel down for more than a week straight, or like a month straight, it's already an alarm ringing, when you probably have to at least think about seeking help. And also, if we talk about the concept of the end of the world, it's funny, but it's different for everyone, and also it's different for your different life stages. For example, if you're very young, if you failed your school exams and you cannot enter the university of your dreams, it might feel like the end of the world, or a breakup, or money troubles. It might feel like the end of the world, but there will be another stage of life if you give yourself a chance, if you manage to reach the stage of life when you realize that it was a period and will pass, and you would look back and maybe sometimes even laugh. Like, I was crying about that person, like I was about to kill myself because that person didn't love me. Oh my god, ew. Yeah, it would be such a pity to lose a wonderful person who I'm sure you are, because of that person who treated you badly when you were 19, for example. And wrapping things up and answering the question of the book as I see it, the difference between the man who committed suicide and the girl who lived is not that she was pulled back, it's not that she was stronger or anything. It's one chance, it's one maybe, it's just one thought, maybe I will try. Maybe I will try. And if we look at the books about the girls like Abby, Lottie, and another girl, Amber, I made a video a year ago, and it was a very funny video with a bee breaking into the video. But yeah, when you start trying, one of the characters of this book says, you start trying, you tried one day, you can also try the next day to get better, to get another perspective, to give yourself a chance for another day, and then another day, and then another day, and then you're grown up and you can help someone else because you were there already. I wanted to make it I would really want to make it a shorter video, but when I start talking, it never ends, so I apologize in advance for this video being very long, because I decided to make a bit shorter video these days, but sometimes, yeah, it's just so. And I hope you felt better. Hope you learned something. I hope maybe you now want to read the book and make up your own opinion. Maybe share it in the comments. Who knows? Maybe you want to give me a thumbs up and a subscription. That would be amazing. But these videos don't tend to, my videos generally don't tend to be super popular. But I believe that what I'm doing is nice. And quickly, while I still have some memory in the phone, I will be wishing you love, love, and peace, peace from Anna of Northern Germany. Stay here, stay alive. I love you very much, and I'm sure many other people love you too. And life is worth living, and troubles don't stay forever, and depression is a big liar. And yeah, thank you for watching very much, and staying here for the length of the video. And see you in the next videos. Tschüss.